We are back in Ways and Means. We are talking about a proposed fee from Department of Fish and Wildlife. And Commissioner Batchel, do you want to join us? Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've joined and I can share my screen if that's easiest for you.
That's lovely. I'll give you a minute. I'm going to say something while you plug in all your stuff, so you don't have to. Talking about decision points this year, just want to clarify that Fish and Wildlife does have the authority to set this fee. I think one of the questions we have is, should they have the authority to set this fee? And then we'll learn more about this fee as well. But there's sort of two questions. Should they have the authority to set the fee? Should we have the fee? And whatever other questions that unpacked here, but yeah. I don't know if have you been here before to see us? I'm Representative Kornheiser. I'm from Brattleboro. It's so nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
2026.
2026. Thanks for all you do for Vermonters. I know.
Thanks for all you do for Vermont.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I don't think I have. So I'll introduce myself. Thank you. I'm Jason Batchelder. I'm Fish and Wildlife Commissioner. I'm the most recent past DEC Commissioner. I was retired for a year, and before that I was the director of the Warden Service. Colonel was my title, and before that I was a blissful field warden, living a wonderful life with no worries. And I'm a father of three, and I have a wonderful wife who works in Northeast Kingdom as a medical doctor. I'm very proud of her. I'm not sure how she feels about my life. Very, very proud of her. Up in Representative Page's realm, which is where I grew up. Very, very glad I was able to make my way here in Vermont. So glad you all are here also. But I don't know everyone. I don't know if we have time.
Yeah, we can do it.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Bill Canfield, representative from Fairhaven, represent Fairhaven, West Haven, Benson.
Bridget Burkhart from South Burlington. I represent South Burlington and Williston. Odie from Burlington. Rebecca Holcomb, Norwich, Stratford, Sharon, Bedford.
Teddy Moss is at Ferry City.
Mark Higley, Orleans, Lamoille, and of course, very close to Mr. Page's district with including Port Town.
Yes.
Jim Maslin, I share a district with Rebecca. I don't recognize you in your different garb here. You usually see you in the card room,
Yes, it's great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
I'm Carolyn Brannigan. I live in the town of Georgia, up in Franklin County, and I represent Georgia and Fairfax here in the House.
And as you know, Commissioner, I don't need any introduction. Charlie Kimball from Woodstock.
Nice to meet you all. Thanks for having me. Let me just share my screen here and we'll get right into it. Had a bit of a slog in the last committee, getting myself into it, but I think should be good to go here. See that? There's there. Okay. I'm on the right screen.
We can see your calendar in the background.
Oh, all public.
Sure, but.
Yeah, I don't know how to get around this one screen that I'm on.
Good luck in Senate.
Thank you.
Just hit slideshow, should be good.
Okay. Where am I? Slideshow.
Top center there.
It's covered on mine.
Oh, it's orange.
There we go. Yeah. I can do this.
We're all gonna stop looking at it, so it'll help you.
Okay.
Stop.
No, it's fine. It was far worse. There we go. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay. I did send over a version last night and I've done just a minor tweaks to it. Shouldn't be anything
Okay.
substantive.
I got the last version.
Okay, I deleted like two things. Yeah, absolutely. And I have the hard copy here, so when I get to that point, I'll point it out. There was some mention of lands in our previous media outreach, which we've since rescinded. And that was what I took out of the PowerPoint from last night. So this is a Vermont conservation license proposal. I like to, I feel like I would do a lot better without this. I've talked about this at length with so many folks. So the PowerPoint is a hindrance to me, but I really value it now because I've been asked a lot of questions that are on here. And so I'll get through it. But this was an effort that was 30 years in the making, and we found ourselves in a year where it's fallen favorably at a time where we're certainly always in need of funding, especially post-COVID life is expensive for everyone. We're at a time of declining revenues because of license sales and other things. Our participation is very strong, but we are at a time where we've made offers of lifetime licenses and permanent licenses where the purchases are not present. We have lots of participation in hunting, fishing, trapping, but we don't have the purchasing that we had in the 80s and 90s and even in 2020 when we had COVID, which we don't want back. But looking for ways to bring non-payers into our system. And some context for this, I think I've got about 13 slides. We have a lot of infrastructure. We have 205 fishing access areas, 102 wildlife management areas, 5 fish culture stations, camps, and shooting ranges, which are expensive to operate. And historically, some of you know, most of you know, all of you know, that license sales carried the day. And we do look at this, as you'll see in subsequent slides, that we do look at this as another license, another way to sort of to be part of the team, as I like to think. Hopefully, people will think of this. And not all people hunt and fish or trap, and so we understand that. But a lot of people do use our access areas, which were brought to us through excise taxes, through hunting and fishing, trapping license sales, and through motorboat registration fees. A paddler or a bird watcher might not have the opportunity to pay into that system. And some of this will seem redundant, so I apologize. These areas are user funded, right? We are historically pay to play when it comes down to our activities. Fishing access areas are paid for, as I mentioned, motorboat registrations, DJ or Dingle Johnson excise taxes, and some capital funds, about an average of $100,000 a year. The public has become more diverse in their outdoor pursuits, and so the pressures increase when that happens. And while our priorities have not shifted, our need to look across different user groups has increased. So cue, paddling, and sailing, bird watching, ice skating.
Can you remind us what the Dingle Johnson excise tax is?
Sure, it's a tax on hunting, fishing, trapping, binoculars, backpacks. I think backpacks are included. Outdoor activities, usually and normally related to consumptive users. So if you buy a set of high-end binoculars, there's a built-in excise tax attached to that purchase, and that money goes to the federal government, and we get some of that through pass-through.
Are guns included in that?
Guns have their own excise tax, which is called the Pittman-Robertson Act. I don't know if it's we don't tend to call it a tax. I guess it is a tax. It's an excise tax on ammunition and guns. Am I getting that right? I'm looking at Andrew for some of my cues.
For the record, I'm Andrea Shortsleeve, I'm the Chief of Operations for the department. So Pittman Robinson is the gun, ammunition, hunting side. And then Dingle Johnson is the more aquatic fishing license, fishing equipment, tackle, boat fuel. So they're both excise taxes. They just cover different activities.
And they both come back to you in a similar way?
They both, they both come back to us through federal government.
Yes, I'm just curious if you could explain what you mean by the public has become more diverse in their outdoor recreational activities. Are you saying that more people are using the public lands? Are you saying that the shift of activities on the lands has changed, or that the
No.
mix has changed?
It's a great question, and it may have been a choice of words that I might regret, but I think I can explain that. So we have many users of our, so this is fishing access area focused, and where we see a small fishing access, we might see one angler part of that fishing access area, but we might see 3 paddlers who are not otherwise licensed. So I think that's what I mean when I say these user groups are more diversified. I think I'm safe to say there are more paddlers than there once were. I certainly feel that where I live. I don't know if I have the science behind that, but we certainly see more of a balance of users at our access areas and our lands that were purchased for hunting and fishing and by hunters and anglers. And we're happy about that. We want people to use our access areas.
So what you're saying is, I'm sorry, but what you're saying is the logic behind this is anyone who uses fish or, landing area, whether they're swimming or fishing, should be paying the same fee. That's your
Sure.
logic.
Swimming is a touchy subject because it's not an approved use. We get a lot of fishing, a lot of swimming, but it's not legal. But we do get a lot of it. But yes, there are user groups that are not traditional that are using these areas.
And ice skating is an approved use.
I don't know. I didn't put that there.
It's up on the list.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. I was hoping you didn't notice. No, I'm just kidding. But for sure, ice skating would not be approved at our access area. You can skate on any lake you want, but using our access area for that.
And our bird watchers at the access area?
Yeah, we do see, take South Bay in Memphremagog, for instance, one of the most wonderful ecosystems that we manage. Lots of folks launch from there. Currently launching a boat or a paddlecraft is a legal approved use. And whatever you do once you get on the water is up to you. You can do whatever you want. And an approved use is, those are among approved uses. So sailing, any of those, using a fishing access area. It's just getting folks to pay it. That's the idea.
As I understand, there's been an underlying tension between those that with a motorboat that are paying their registration fees and those that are just launching a kayak who have not paid a fee.
Correct.
That's existed for a while, as I understand.
So, yes. It tends to work itself out, but you're right. There is a tension there.
Yes, and I want to make sure we allow the commissioner to tell his whole story.
Well, I'm just curious how hunting fees pay into this too. I should disclose that we have members of my household are paying them, but are they using the fishing access areas too?
Sure.
Because that's the intent.
Sure. So these licenses, and I would have to ask some help to get into the weeds on how hunting licenses actually pay for fishing access areas. I'm not sure I can actually relay that, but many hunters access hunting areas. Near my house, Wolcott Pond is surrounded by a wildlife management area. Some of the more remote areas you have to paddle to. So hunters and duck hunters, obviously, more traditional muskrat hunters will access the water from a fishing access area. Those were designated for those activities. So this is the why. So there's tremendous financial burden on the department when it comes to managing its land. And our current funding does not meet the public's demand. Historically, we're able to provide funding for these activities, and as we shift in our ability to gain financially from purchases, as I mentioned, we have shifted. We're looking for, again, more payers. This new license will help maintain the historic user pay public benefits model. And it's pointed out here that we're not looking to profit from these. We don't expect to make a ton of money, but we are looking to help fund infrastructure, kiosks, paving, gravel work, anything that would historically be used as maintenance. That's where this money would go.
I'm trying to understand the idea of user pay and public benefit. Usually when we talk about user pay in the context of fees, it's really that a user pays for something narrow enough that they're really almost the only ones who benefit. And then when we look at public benefits issues, we generally look to, say, the general fund or a broader base. And so I'm curious how this fits into that. And
Sure.
I mean, frankly, a lot of your shortfall is the fact that fees have not been increased. And so like how you got to this particular decision you wound up with in this particular moment that we're all living in.
Yeah, and I think I captured your question there. I think the existence of these access areas are a public benefit that all of the public has enjoyed for as long as they've been in existence. And I don't believe and I know that not all the public has been contributing in the way that hunters, anglers, and trappers have been paying. I don't see this as a narrow focus offer. I see this as a benefit for everyone.
Did you consider removing all of the fees and just having there be public funds for a public benefit?
Not personally. I'm not sure what the team thought of here. But I certainly am happy to discuss it. I have not personally. Yeah. So here's a show of our decline in license sales. And as I mentioned, this looks doom and gloom. But if you look at let's say 2022 and we're 48,000, we're more than that this year.
Is that dollars or licenses?
These are licenses sold. The participation rate is much higher. We reported this morning that we're upwards of 70,000 hunters, only because there are a certain segment over 66 and under 15 who don't have to buy these licenses.
What year did we create those exemptions? Sorry,
It's okay.
I would just,
Don't know.
I,
I looked to Andrew.
Years ago.
that's what I thought. And there's like no, it's weird how the graph doesn't seem to.
I think the lifetime license, I think what started in 95. Not sure when the permanent license became a thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting that there's not a reflection there. I'll have to point that out to. Pardon me?
It's totally bizarre, actually.
Yeah.
Reflect too.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one. For sure.
Which was the last time hunting license fees were adjusted?
I have to get back to you on that one too.
It's before my time.
I thought we
More
just,
than 10 years ago, I think.
I thought we did an adjustment a couple of years ago, didn't we?
It was a small adjustment. We learned about an LCAR committee. So, 5 years ago.
We're gonna get back to us on that.
Yes, I will. Happy to.
Do you have an answer to the question? Or should we
Government
wait?
join, we can do a more fulsome.
Okay, great.
analysis on it.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
So the lifetime license was 65, was $50 at 65 years old, but we changed it to
65 or
to
something.
66 years old,
Yes, that's right.
something, and it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
I remember it was during Commissioner Porter's time, but it is 66 now. So as I mentioned, we consider this another department license required for the use of fishing access areas for those who don't possess a current hunting, fishing, or trapping license or a registered motorboat. This will be for folks who are over 18 years of age and older, and obtained through an annual purchase. This is something that's been in my head a lot, how this is actually going to be on the ground. And we're looking to QR codes and kiosks initially and sort of through passive enforcement in the first couple of years. The cost would be similar to a hunting or fishing or trapping license. I think personally, I'd rather sell someone a fishing license to get them active, but if we understand that not all people are engaged that way. And so looking at that, and I've said in other arenas, $18 to $20 is roughly what we'll be looking at.
Figure out how this would work, because you mentioned ice skating. So a lot of schools in rural areas, they have outdoor programs in the afternoons, make sure kids are getting out. Is the thought that the school would go online and buy $20 a year passes for every kid who goes ice skating monthly? Is that how you're thinking of it working?
So I haven't thought of those particular nuanced approaches yet. Say, let's say my daughter's actually doing a skating day right now as we speak, at the Elmore School. And so, I've been approached by several user groups, including Chief Don Stevens from the Abenaki and from veterans organizations, other groups that are looking to be part of this. But a school would certainly be a carve out. Those kids are all under 18. This activity, not normally an approved use, ice skating, so might encourage them to go another place. I apologize for putting ice skating on it. It's not my intent, and I should have caught it.
So, I mean, if somebody recognizes the underlying tension, because I've had that myself, is there a way right now for them to obtain a permit? Has anybody approached the department to say, how can I use this? I don't have a motorboat. I'm not going to buy a license. Is there any underlying demand that you can point to?
I'm not.
People asking to pay a fee?
Yeah, to get a pass.
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question. So let's say someone wants to go down and paint at an access area. Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm asking, okay, I've got 2 kayaks. The access area is in a perfect place for me to go to, but I know the rule is I can't go there unless I've got a motorboat.
No, the rule currently is you can use that with your kayaks. It's simply a prioritized system. And I can't give you the order of priority, but kayaks are among a prioritized use. So you can go do that now for absolutely no charge.
Yeah.
So the guy shows up with a trailer and he's really pissed that you're blocking the entrance with your kayak. Yeah. So.
I know that guy, but I.
Yeah.
So why couldn't you have a sticker for, a kayak or canoe, a paddling boat rather than each individual? I mean, would you have to have a particular card, I guess?
So
What are the details?
sure. So wonderful question, and it's relevant here. We have been cautioned against stickers because they are an annual effort that's required by the department, required by wardens, required by folks to do, sort of like the sticker on your license plate that I don't think we have to do anymore. We have researched 14 states, I believe, and taken some of their goods and bads from their experiences, and they've steered us away from stickers. I feel like coming from the warden service, having the ability to look at someone's license on a device, which like it or otherwise, we all have and we all use. Having that QR code sell you a license on the spot, have it visible for a warden is how we look at this being the easiest way to offer this license.
Or would it be on your fishing license or your hunting license?
Good question. I think this would be separate. The way we're talking about this right now, this would be separate. Because if you have a fishing or hunting license, you're exempt, right? So if you don't have one, this would just simply be a department emblem, and next to it, it says, fishing access pass. We haven't come up with a name, but Representative Page license, maybe.
Sounds great.
Page pass, yeah.
Representative Higley.
Yeah, how would you treat out-of-state users?
Similarly, we sell non-resident hunting, fishing, trapping licenses. We reciprocate with motorboat users from any state, any province. And so selling someone a pass here, what we haven't gotten into is a non-resident price. If they're going to be more than a resident price, I don't know. We assume they are, everything else is, but that's how we would handle it.
I guess how would they know about it? If say
Sure.
somebody comes up from South Carolina, they're gonna go kayaking on.
Sure.
How are they gonna know about
There is going to be signage at our access areas we have kiosks at all of them right now, to my knowledge, and they will now say this is a fee area. Similar to how you would see an access area at, say, Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks or U.S. Fish and Wildlife designated land. They are fee areas, and that's how we will designate this, and the QR code will be there. And again, don't want to be heavy-handed with this in the first couple of years. You may know, whenever we roll out a new law, we try to be passively enforcing this and educate for the first couple of years and then roll to actual enforcement.
Given how fragile our tourism industry is right now with the relationship with Canada, I'm curious how you think this might, I guess I'm concerned that this is going to make Vermont feel even more or America feel even more uninviting. Just like, you know, rolling up with my paddleboard to a access area and just like.
Yeah, I think about this a lot too. I was born in Canada. I have a lot of love for cross-border travel, and as the sort of the manager / appointing authority / person who has the authority to set this rule, it'll be front and center in my mind. The wardens know how I feel about heavy enforcement. The last 8 years of my career as director, we were very present during a lot of hard times surrounding traditional enforcement of all laws in this country. I feel very strongly about the rule of law, but I also feel very strongly about being neighborly while you do it.
Discretionary enforcement of a fee seems like a really good recipe for a lot of bias.
Well, if it helps, the fee is one thing, and enforcement is a separate thing. So all of our fees go into from enforcement. Let's say you're fishing without a license and a warden catches you. All of that money goes into the general fund.
That's a fine.
We get $0. This will be a fine too if you get caught, right? The fee initially,
Yeah.
if you buy a fishing license, that goes to us. If you don't, it goes to the general fund. So it's very similar, very similar.
The levying of the fee, it sounds like, will be essentially discretionary if you're not really enforcing it.
Well,
And so only like the people who are very attentive to signs or aren't pissed off at the state for levying a fee are gonna pay it. Some of them are gonna get caught and might get a fine and might not, which will probably further alienate them from their relationship to the state and the natural world.
all those things are possible.
Okay.
The discretionary enforcement piece is something that we offer whenever we roll out a new law. So first couple of years, it's all education. We would much rather you buy that license than write you a ticket. And the wardens know that. And I hope that comes through when I'm speaking to them. We certainly don't want to be blackmailing anyone into buying this fee, right? That is not the intent. But over time, if you use the habitat stamp as an example, we have enormous buy-in from that habitat stamp, and folks want to pay into the system because they understand it. Part of this process here is helping folks understand why we need it.
The habitat stamp isn't required as a, go ahead, Representative. What is that? Go ahead.
I also just, is the juice worth the squeeze on this one? Like if we're talking about a 20, it seems like there's been a downward trend, clearly a downward trend in license sales over the past 50 years. And just tying back to Representative Kornheiser's point about the general fund, like if that's the problem, if it's the revenue, if it's the reduced revenue from license sales that we're trying to correct here, it just doesn't seem like the math is going to map to actually, get where we want to be. And that would be a place where the general fund could step in. And so I'm just curious as to like, do you have projections for like how much revenue this would bring in or anything like that?
We do. They've been quasi jolted recently because this was initially a lands and access area effort. So we've had to pare that down. But we do. We were in the 250,000 a year range, projecting out about 3 to 5 years of this being on the ground. So I don't know how that would land without lands at this point. But I completely understand what you're saying. There has been some sentiment that is very contrary to this effort, but there's been a lot of sentiment that is very supportive of this effort from not only sort of hook and bullet folks who have been paying, but from folks like like Audubon Society and others who use our lands because some of them are world-class birding opportunities, and there's no sort of license for that right now. Not that people are out looking for licenses to pay, right? But it is,
I mean,
it's
they're not badges on a Boy Scout uniform.
and part of a group, right?
I guess I'm concerned, the world is like very hard right now for a lot of people and very expensive. And over Christmas break, I like finally heard about touch grass as like a thing that the kids say. And it just seems like what we're doing or what you're trying to do would make it even harder for Vermonters to access like this absolutely incredible resource we have. I know we already have like a huge amount of class discrepancy in who accesses our lands, which seems really sad. Like I want to do everything we can to change that. And this just seems like it's going in the opposite direction. I don't know. Yeah. Representative Higley.
So, Vermont is a very aging population. And you're making me feel guilty for taking advantage of the free license over 66. I won't tell you how many years I've done it. But I'm just wondering, I would say if there was a, when I go get my new license, you have to get the license. There was a spot on there, would you like to contribute? I mean, I know there is for wild, like stamps and that sort of stuff, but is there any consideration ever for that? I'm just trying to
Sure.
look at another way possibly to bring in some more business.
Sure. The habitat stamp offers that. But you have to be in the realm of wanting to buy one of our licenses to get to the habitat stamp. You don't have to, but that's what makes it easy. Every year I buy my hunting license and my fishing license, and up pops the habitat stamp, and I click on it and I pay the 15 or whatever, $25 in addition. And hunters and anglers and trappers do that with monotonous regularity. They fund that whole habitat stamp, right? There are on occasion a big donation. There is on occasion a big donation that pops up. We don't know. Sometimes we do because of the point of sale system, but sometimes it comes in anonymously. I want to buy a habitat stamp for $3,000, right? And those are wonderful. Part of the beauty, I think, of this in the long term, and I completely, Madam Chair, I completely understand what you're saying. I cannot stomach the amount we pay for everything that we pay for. It's very, very troubling. I don't know how people do it that don't have two good incomes. But I feel over time, normalizing this and getting this in front of people will lead to not only this user model being looked at as favorable, because we do have a lot of users who don't pay anything, and I use state parks, and state parks aren't a good example, but I do hike on state land, and I don't pay for that. But when I want to go to a state park, the last time I went this year, it was $19 for my family to go to Green River Reservoir to go paddle for a day. It's not out of the realm of normality in Vermont, and say 5 years from now, we have these folks who are paying their $18 a year, and that habitat stamp pops up in front of them. It will lead to more money. I feel as though there are. I wish I could give examples of states who have done well by this, but I'd use Montana. I know Virginia has done well. There are 14 states in existence where this has been normalized over time, and there are some who had terrible experiences with it. But I think timing aside, I think is the juice worth the squeeze? I think that'll be tested. I feel like it will.
Representative Higley, do you think else?
Another question I have is the money that is currently brought to the state from logging on state land, where does that money go? Does any of it go to you folks?
Some of it does. That comes to us through special funds. I don't exactly know how much it is, or the percentage of it. I do know it's not a lot of money.
I do believe someone does know
may
the
know.
answer.
I think it's about $80,000 a year.
Again, I mean, to go on a broader perspective in this regard, when we're wanting to tie up, all our land, whether it's a wildlands bill, whether it's 30 by and 50 by 50, whether it's tier 3, all that sort of stuff. I mean, you know, $80,000, okay, $80,000, but if you aren't gonna be allowed to log on state land anymore, it's $80,000. So again, I just think we look at things in a way that isn't very open-minded.
I'm sorry to ask you this question, but I have to. How does this fit into the governor's commitment to no new taxes and no new fees?
Don't be sorry.
I mean, I'm not.
Thank you. Sure. I completely get it. I completely get it. It goes back for me to a group of individuals. Let's say we're all users of these fishing access areas, but only 3 of us have been paying for 100 years. That's how I'm answering that question. It comes down to a fairness issue. And having the opportunity for more payers, I don't think is the inverse of a fee. I think of a fee or a tax. I think it's an opportunity for more people to be involved with the ongoing management of these lands.
I mean, you could say that about almost any new tax.
Sure.
Thank you.
So when this proposal first came out, it also included access to trails or trail access areas, I believe. Is that correct?
Wildlife management areas, any department-owned lands. Yes.
And is that now off the table?
It's not now, but not never. So not right now.
I mean, from my constituents who send me emails around the same issues, I got a whole bunch of contacts from constituents I never hear from that said, "Are you kidding me? I'm going to have to pay $20 to go outside." So that was the reaction. So I come with that feedback. I'm sure you've heard of that already.
Have. And thank you for feeling those. I appreciate it very much. The lands were being looked at as sort of non-differentiated between VTrans lands, DEC lands, Forest and Parks lands, Fish and Wildlife lands. And I completely understand that had I not been in state government, I would not know that different state agencies and different departments own different lands. This was only to be for Fish and Wildlife lands. When it hit, we realized that was a gap, and that was on me. I should have seen that folks weren't going to differentiate. We should have done a better job of differentiating that this is wildlife management areas only, Fish and Wildlife Department lands only. So we pulled it back.
And by the same lack of differentiation, they don't differentiate whether it's you or me, making that decision. It's Montpelier. Yeah, what are you doing to me?
I take a lot of solace in that. So.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what he intended.
That's all I take. Thank you.
Representative Wozniak? Oh, sorry, Representative Brannigan, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
So I'm trying to understand your response to the chair's question regarding how this fits in with governor's plan. Did the governor send you, did he approve of the request? Where does he stand on this?
Sure. He approves of this. So we have been pushing this for 30, maybe more than 30 years. And the governor has said no to no license increases and no fees, no taxes, as he has said, and he says. But this appealed to the governor because of the disparities in user groups and the fairness issue. And I don't know if fairness is the way that lands favorably with you all, but I feel as though a person who pays thousands of dollars every year to hunt and fish, and knowing that I have paid into these lands year after year, I'm not opposed to anybody using these lands, but I do look at the fairness issue as being real. And I feel, without putting words in the governor's mouth, he is supporting this, but I do feel that the fairness issue resounded with him.
Somewhere in your presentation, I read that there's $100,000 appropriation to you from Alice Emmons Committee. Corrections and the capital bill. There we go. Any chance of increasing that? You said you need how much? 250,000?
I don't feel as though we have fallen on a number of need. That is what we expected to make when we had the full package of wildlife management areas and fishing access areas lumped together for fee use.
Yeah.
The need, I don't have the number for you, what we need.
Okay, well, it seems to me that I mean, this is a really sad example of what happens when you let obligations fall apart, when we don't keep up with accurate fees enough to support your department. And you're not the only one across the state, that dozens of other agencies and departments are falling apart, or, you know, having to look in other places for revenue just to keep themselves going to support the needs of Vermonters. And I agree with every comment that's been made around the table about children, people, elderly people. Mark.
My hearing aids are working.
Okay, hear me. You know, even skating, I don't see what's wrong with skating on a pond, you know, but this is falling apart because we're not keeping up with a funding plan that was made years ago to support this department through fees.
Right.
So if we're not gonna do fees, let's look at an appropriation. And if you want one of us to go down there, I would volunteer to my chair, whether she wants me to do that or not, I don't know yet, but I mean, I don't think the fee is a good idea because it's so uneven now. You got a certain bunch of people who haven't had a fee increase in nearly 10 years. And, you know, another group now, because they're brand new users of the facility, if you want to call it that, they're going to have a fee. I just don't see it. But I don't want you to think that I don't respect your work.
Or I don't think that,
honor what you
I
do.
don't think that from any of you. I
really
feel very welcome here and I feel like you all have respected the work so much. And I thank you for mentioning that. I don't feel that at all. Thank you.
Thanks. I want to follow up. I appreciate that so much, Carolyn. And you're welcome to go talk to appropriations. I want to follow up on Representative Higley's, some of his comments, about sort of like consistency in government to some degree. I really appreciate that Vermont has this right to roam. And I think we're one of the only states that has that. And I just think that's beautiful. It's like the people's house. It's like one of those like core tenets of Vermont that just makes my little Vermonty heart glow. And I'm curious, this seems to go at odds with that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering your thoughts about that.
I'm with you on right to roam. It's a thing of beauty. And I feel I've only recently become aware of how guarded the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is of their lands and lands that they have helped acquire. And I think some of it goes back to protection of the funds that they've given us over time. If they find out that we've allowed someone to do anything on those access areas that is not aligned with the traditional uses, including boating, including paddling, we have to answer for that. And I feel as though the wardens have to their own detriment over time, I've had to carry that spear around with them, right? And poke the ice skaters and the swimmers. Metaphorically, yes. I use that sharp spear analogy way too much. But I think
Just imagining the children on the ice skates.
I know. It's my daughter in my head and I poke her. But I think it goes down to that. I think I will because it's law, because it's what we defend. I obviously stick up for it. Those uses are guarded because of the funding models that surround them. And this aligns with that funding model, but it helps us also. But I understand completely.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, Representative.
Yeah, just a brief anecdote that you might appreciate. When I first moved onto my hill 6 years ago, there was a change of game wardens, old and new. And the older game warden brought the newer one to a family down the hill. been there forever. And he said, I want to introduce you to da-da-da. This is the only family I know where they put a salt lick between every other row in the garden. I don't know how complete that is true, but the game warden did come around and introduce him to the family and something to that effect. So this is, I guess you could say, an old family tradition for a family that had been there since the town started, you know, that kind of stuff. So
Sure.
I'm really, I didn't let you finish your slides.
That's okay. I'm gonna flick through them. I appreciate that. I think I was the warden in your area for
you were,
way too short amount of time.
that's right.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again,
You too.
over again.
That means we can still go out on our phones.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how you would, yeah. There's also.
It's the pay to play thing. but
Sure.
public Access is
Sure.
challenging.
Yeah, but I think some of this argument is that it's been in existence for so long, right? It's been in existence for forever. And and I know my perspective is skewed, and forgive me for that. And being in the enforcement realm, it's even more skewed. Seeing a person with a fishing rod in their kayak and their life jacket, you know, you check their license and they're on their way. I get it now that it's going to be a different conversation. I completely understand that. But it hasn't been out of the realm of what I consider reasonable to ask other users to pay for a long time. And knowing, you know, the type of organization that we are, that we would not be frivolous with the fees. And anyway, I'm trying to go in the right direction. Okay, this is worth mentioning, that this will not replace the Habitat stamp or compete with a non-game fund. And that this is designed to offset declining revenues. I have mentioned that. Looking at implementation in 2027, if the change is approved in 2026, and obviously intensive outreach is required. And then I believe we've been through all of this. Just some additional areas where this would not be required. So camps and fishing culture stations where the public is welcome. Stream bank management areas, which is 1,500 acres of land that we own along rivers in Vermont. And you do still require a license to be at our 2 shooting ranges. The commissioner of the day has authority to set these fees through statute. And they go into the wildlife funds to be used for these efforts that we mentioned. And we are aiming to have this available through our existing point of sale system where we sell our other licenses. And that's the last slide. I would love to stay. I do need to call the school if I'm going to.
No, I think we're
But I'm happy to stay.
agenda time. And I don't want your daughter to get too cold after her ice skating, waiting for you.
This is full of hot chocolate.
I think we are going to get after your last picture slide, that it shows declining license buyers, declining revenue.
Yes, that's
Beyond
the 2 slides that I
2016.
stopped at. I don't have it on here any longer, but you do have 2 hard copy slides that show the declining numbers. And those were from the slides when I had lands rolled into this. And
I just wondered about beyond 2016. This is
Sure.
past.
yeah, I would have to come back to talk about that. I'm so
I think we
sorry.
can spend some more time with some analysis from JFO, because those numbers are quite old. So some numbers would be helpful.
But I owe you why the permanence and lifetime licenses are not reflected in that downward slope. And I owe you when was our last license increase for hunting licenses, and I'll include fishing and trapping there also.
And then I guess the last question that you can owe us or say now is you have this authority to set this fee on your own. And I'm just sort of curious your thoughts on.
Yeah, and it's.
Most areas, you're like one of the only areas of state government that can do that.
We still will have to go through ICAR to our
Yeah.
knowledge, right? And so it's not entirely an autonomous effort. And I won't be deaf to the buy-in. I love these conversations, and I'll continue to, and you know, anytime you want me to come in, I would love to be part of this, and lunch too. If anyone ever wants to chat offline, I'm always available. yeah, I wonder because I do have this inherent trust in our department because I've been part of it for so long and I've seen how wonderful staff are and how dedicated they are to any bit of funding that we receive. And again, I'm scared because we have 150 lifestyle employees, right? They live and breathe this every minute of the day.
And I think other agencies that are not, that need to come to us to set their fees also have incredible staff and are
Oh, my
good
goodness.
with their money.
Of course, yeah, of course.
One last question. And first of all, same gratitude, really appreciate your team and the work they do. And I think it's a huge piece of why Vermont is such a wonderful place to live. But we're all concerned about declining revenues or deteriorating fiscal conditions. And we just heard from the AOT that they're budgeting healthcare increases at 3%. What are you budgeting your healthcare increases for the next year?
Do you know that? I will have to get back to you on
You
that.
could let us know.
Yes.
That'd be very helpful.
Absolutely, get that for you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
It was truly my pleasure. I'd love to come back.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
You too, all of you. Thank you very much. Yeah, take care.
Take care.
Right.
Folks, the last thing we have on the agenda for today is to talk about reports. Sorsha, I think, is going to share her screen. In order to complete this task. Thank you again. The highlights don't mean anything.
Well, they, mandatory hearing, that's what you would.
I know, but we'll work through that. What's my sentence? In order for us to move through this in a timely way, we are not going to discuss the content of the reports now. We're not going to discuss the law that led to the reports. Really just answering the question, like, who wants to read the report and report back to the committee for now? You can absolutely, many of these reports were sent out in advance before the session even started. You can absolutely sign up for reports you already read. And I think most of them will, and as we go, I'll try to say the ones that I'm already planning or I'm already planning with Sorsha to have like real committee time with. Okay, does that sound like a good frame?
Some of these aren't out yet.
And some of them aren't out yet, so you're signing up for the future. Yes.
So good.
Are you looking for volunteers for them?
Yeah, I'm gonna go line by line and look for volunteers now.
Okay.
So the first one, the fiscal year 2026 fee report, I think it's great for folks to read it. I was not planning on spending a lot of committee time on it because frankly, I don't think we are going to raise fees this year.
You still want someone to volunteer.
And I think that would be great if someone read it and reported back, maybe 2 people even. Okay, Representative Brannigan. And then does someone else want to join Representative Brannigan? Thank you.
This includes the individual state fee reports that have been coming in. There's a bunch on our reports and resources page.
Okay.
And Ted tracks them all and does all kinds of great stuff with them. So like he spends he's not here anymore. He spends an enormous amount of time making sure that he's working with the departments that the fee reports come in as described in statute. And so it's a good thing to work with him on that. Fees relating to cannabis. Mark, great. Anyone else?
We go with Chair Pepper all the time.
Anyone else? I will read that one with you, Mark.
You want somebody with you?
He does. Okay, thanks. Mark and Bill. Data sales. There's going to be a bill coming from Commerce likely that's focused on these fees, which is why it's sort of extra relevant right now. Thank you. Wonderful, Bridget and Rebecca. So that one we won't take up. The cannabis one, we're not going to take up until a cannabis bill comes from GovOps. There usually is, there's one every year. And the data one, we wouldn't pick up until the data bill comes over from Commerce. Next up, school construction. Those two, the annual report and the recommendations for transfer, are sort of a package dealio.
Already read them, so. have it.
Great, okay, thank you. I imagine Charlie, you should be
Well,
focused on the, great, okay. So we have Charlie, Rebecca, Bridget, and that we're already scheduling testimony for, I think. Next week?
Yeah.
Okay. Special education, those two are a package deal. Does someone want to join Rebecca on that?
Already read them, so.
Thanks, Rebecca and Bridget, and that is not scheduled yet, but will be scheduled. Transportation reimbursement guidelines, we're probably not going to take that up until the other committees do a lot of work.
It's not out yet.
Is that one not out yet?
Oh, maybe it is.
I think that one is out actually, and it's just tiny.
Okay. Oh, I.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
Sportman?
yes, Woody's going to do that one.
I think I did read it actually.
I'll have it with you.
And Carol? We will, that one, you might need to remember for a while. We're likely not going to pick it up until later in the session. Inflationary measures. I know Rebecca's super excited about that. Is anyone else excited about inflation measures? Great, Bridget, thank you. I'm also really excited about inflation measures. That one's not out yet. Pre-K also not out yet, and we're working on it more this week. That's actually something that everyone should read when it comes out. Please. Thank you. And just because you didn't sign up, you're signing up to report out, you're not necessarily signing up to be the only one who reads it. Everyone should try to read all of them because very nice people worked hard to write them, and there was a reason we requested them. Property tax classification implementation report. I already, yes. Representative Higley and Representative Wazizak, thank you. And Kimball? And Kimball, great. We're going to keep on working on that. Everyone already knows that. Regional Assessment District Annual Progress Report and Stakeholder Working Group, that's a package deal. Representative Wazizak. Mark, you don't want that one?
Which one again? I'm sorry.
The Regional Assessment Districts.
The stakeholder
You
working.
love that part of
It's
the,
your topic.
what's your
I was just
favorite?
on the last one.
No, Mark's going to do that one too with Teddy. Great, thanks. That's going to be scheduled testimony in the next couple of weeks. State road fees for broadband telephone companies. That is, thank you. Jim is going to do that one. If one other person can do that one, maybe Charlie.
Sure, yeah.
So that bill that we learned about this morning from that law we learned about this morning from Maria, was that this afternoon? Yep, this afternoon from Maria. When we were working on that law, we discovered that there's been a fee in statute that has not been collected for 30 years. And that report was about, why are you not collecting this fee that's in statute? Maybe there's a good reason, in which case we should remove the fee, but we can't just leave laws that are never followed on the books. I mean, I know we do it all the time, but it would be nice not to. Okay. Great. So we'll schedule testimony for that. If whoever reads that report, the Transportation Committee actually took testimony on the report last week, if you want to watch that for Cliff Notes. Yes.
On the stakeholder working group, for the regional, it says 2026. Do we know when to expect that?
I feel like any minute.
No, right. Once we get it.
Onwards.
That was the 15th, but I don't.
It's pretty soon.
I will look for it.
For sure. Is that it? No,
Oh, no,
there's another page.
Did you do the Housing Conservation Express one?
No,
Oh, there's more.
Yeah.
I don't know what that one is.
Okay.
Let's skip that.
I'll jump on it. I didn't want to see what it is.
Everyone's so excited about the PVR report. We're all gonna read it.
True, but.
It's gonna be late. I've already gotten word. Yes, just FYI, it's not gonna be out tomorrow.
Is tomorrow the 15th?
Indeed.
Jill reached out.
Is she gonna give us printed copies this year?
Yes, she is. She asked.
Do you know what the color is this year? Okay.
And it includes all the information.
I'm like
right?
channeling Scott back in weird ways right now. Okay. Value of incentives granted and report on extent to which tax credits have supported economic activity. That is not out until next year. I think that's a summer, I think that's report. I think that's a 2020, I think, yeah.
Veggie?
Veggie, there's a report. Someone should read the report, and I think that's something else that we're not gonna look at until Commerce sends us something. So be ready for that to arrive. Who wants to do that?
I love that.
Hardly.
The report, you love the report?
Yes.
Bridget Dodge.
Okay. And the Higher Education Endowment Trust Fund. I'm also gonna do that one. Anyone else? Okay. Oh, yeah.
So I was already on that meeting, so.
Thanks. Great. Okay. Bridget and Carol, for anyone who is not following that, that's where the, what's it called when people die? The estate tax. Thank you. That is, where the estate tax goes, which is likely going to be an increasing source of revenue for the next few years.
We don't have the annual TIF report on there.
We don't have the annual TIF report on here. Would you like to add it and read it and tell us about it?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm sure Carolyn will read it as well.
Yes.
I will definitely. read
Okay.
it. In fact, I didn't think it was going to come out until Friday with your committee meeting on the afternoon.
The TIF report.
Yeah, Tom.
It comes out like in April.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Okay.
Coming.
Okay. Can you add Carolyn and Charlie to a TIF report and find the TIF report? Thank you.
That's good.
And if you all want to be the ones who are focusing the most on the chip, that would also be cool.
Okay.
Thanks. Ah, that was so productive. You all are great. Thank you.